blessed with a championship prosperity the likes of which we have never seen, cursed by a past riddled with despair. This is Blurst.
Coming up next on Blurst, we have a fantasy football discussion with Bleezy, Kize, and Hayden. Welcome back to Blurst, everybody. This is the Wednesday episode. We're going to be talking a little fantasy football instead of Blurst of the week. We're getting close to the season starting, and we need to get our shit together and see what's going on. And mostly, I want to know my co-hosts' strategies going into the season, so I can talk them over. What's up, guys?
Yeah, what's up, man? Hey, what's
Excited
up?
to talk some fantasy.
Oh,
Yes.
Fantasy football, not
Yes. Well, it is appropriate
No.
that while we're
the Nine
getting this
Dragons, all with
yes,
different.
9 dragons are currently on screen. They're all different.
yes.
With their
There's a
own-
lot of other fantasy going on right now in
Yes.
pop
Yeah, Game of
culture with
Thrones,
the
yeah.
new Game of Thrones show, and
That's
then
right.
the new Lord of the Rings show comes out on September 2nd. So,
Just on the
That's- yeah.
horizon, yeah.
yeah. So
Is that the
if you
same
guys-
day? Is that Georgia's kickoff? Are we getting both that day?
Wait, November?
Oh, I thought you
Oh,
said September.
September.
Oh, you said
2nd.
September. Oh, okay, September
Yeah.
2nd.
Yeah, let me double check that. Oh, it's the 3rd. So that weekend we'll get the show on the 2nd, and then the UGA kicks off the season the next day.
I'll be honest, I'm more excited between the fantasies. I'm more excited for the Lord of the Rings one, but between the three, it's probably fantasy football.
There you go. It is. Let's get into that because this started out as being my blurst of the week with fantasy football, and I'll stick by that. It definitely could be a blurst of the week, even though we're not really framing it in that way.
Right.
Fantasy football is extremely fun, and it really takes over your life for about 4 months if your team is in it, and that's the key because it is miserable if something happens or you had a bad draft. You got to eat it.
Yep.
Right. You got to take the insults.
I just came off
hurts.
that and am currently experiencing it right now.
Yeah, last year, I mean, what happens is in fantasy is when bad luck hits you, because and we're going to get into it, luck has something to do with fantasy football. It does every year. But when bad luck hits you, you got to risk it all. You just have to, because like you said, fantasy football is one of those things that during those 4 months, you are so invested. So enjoy the investment. Try your hardest. Whether you make your trades are successful and revitalizing your season, or you still lose, you're going to lose anyways if injuries are hitting you hard. So might as well try. So the blurstness of fantasy football is those seasons you don't win it all, though. I don't know. After I lost the championship this last year, I deleted the app. I just don't want to look at it. I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah.
I didn't update the fantasy log for our stats and all that stuff, our season stats and everything, until about a couple weeks ago.
Blake is our league historian.
Yes.
He does a great job and keeps a Google Doc running so we can track through the different apps that we use and stuff who has won the league, who has the best record,
the most
who the MVP
last
was of the
places.
championship game. He does. That's a super awesome thing that he does. But yeah, so we've all been to the mountaintop. We've won the championship, and that's what it's all about. It's about bragging, right? It's not as much as winning the money pool or whatever.
Oh yeah,
but
I hate losing to Brady. I love you, Brady, but losing to Brady this past year, it's his first championship. It hurt me more than anything, and I know everyone was probably rooting for him. I feel like it was a mixed bag, but I feel like a lot of people
it was
were
a
rooting.
strange. It
I
was
regret
like
rooting for him.
Yeah,
do.
same. It was like
Truly.
there was two villains. It was
Two villains.
a lose there for everybody. Everyone wanted Brady to keep his streak of never winning one alive,
And no one wanted me to win a second one.
and then no one wanted you to win a second one.
Yeah, I know. And Hayden, especially since he's the only one to do it. I know. I feel like that's something that you got to be proud of that. You got to hold on to wherever you can in fantasy football.
Oh yeah. So this is a big year for me because I win every 3 years. I win the league every 3 years, and it's been 3 years, and the last 2 years have been very bad for me.
Yeah.
I've dealt with some CMC injuries, running back injuries that's kind of taken me out, and then I don't know. I've kind of lost interest. Like if your team's struggling so bad, it's hard to continue watching your ass get handed to you
put that effort in.
on Sunday Ticket or on Red Zone. It's just tough to watch.
I'll say
when your fantasy team's bad and your NFL team's bad, it's just
it makes
It was
football
all
season
over.
hard. It makes it
Yeah.
rough. But I will say this: keepers have really made it more interesting, though, because even in those years where you're not doing as well, you make trades for those keepers. That's what you're competing for. Because let's just talk about it. Aaron has Jamar Chase as a keeper and Mark Andrews. I mean, you have arguably could be argued the number one tight end, and you have arguably one of the top 3 wide receivers starting on your team before you even draft. So it puts you ahead of everybody.
I'm super excited to start it because having Jamar as a keeper and then also having the number 2 overall pick, I basically have 2 first-round picks. Essentially,
yes, you do.
The way that goes.
And with Mark Andrews, you kind of have
2 second rounds.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. That's true. And the other day when I did a fantasy draft, I ended up with Jamar, obviously, Mark Andrews, obviously, but then I had Derrick Henry, and Pat Mahomes and Deebo Samuel. So if I could get that.
I mean, it reminds me, it's reminiscent of a couple years ago when Alex had those incredible keepers and he came into the season like, all right, Alex is going to win it all this year. But what happens is if you don't make the right moves during the season, because here's what fantasy football is: it's your draft. In our league, it's keepers, draft, waiver wires, trades, luck. The 5 things that matter. And you got to do all 5 things. You can't win without all 5 things.
Yeah.
Yes. Although I do think, like, if you put in minimal effort, you won't come in last. For the most part.
True.
Who came in last year? Sam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I never feel like I'm going to
still hasn't done his punishment yet.
I think it's his second time getting last too, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah. He has a couple chips too. So
he does.
Yeah.
Gotta respect it.
He's got a chip.
High school football coach, so watch out. He knows the game.
I think he's going to make a resurgence this year. I think he's the dark horse to make the playoffs.
I mean, he had Derrick Henry. He was making a run until he got hurt. So
Sam is, to me, the Georgia Tech of our league. You know, won a couple titles back when the league wasn't composed the same, and then look at him now. I haven't seen him finish above 10th in quite a while.
I will say that you make a good point. I blame his son. But you do make
the first
point.
One of us to have a kid, and it really brought him down.
He was, and you could tell. Like you would text him, and I remember all the time I text him like, "Sam, if we're gonna make a trade, you got to do it now. The trade deadline is today." He's like, "I just need more time." Like you don't have more time. The time is like it ends today at 4 o'clock.
Stop loving your son. That's enough.
Yeah, stop teaching
really
kids. Stop
think
doing
about
a good
the people
job
that
everything.
need you.
Yeah.
God.
But I will say you made a good point. I think the league competitiveness has gone up. I think it's the most competitive the league has been. I think it's in a really good spot. I think our league's a challenging league to win.
So we are it is a redraft league. We're trying to get a dynasty league together, which that is like you basically roll forward instead of 3 keepers, you keep like 20 players on your roster and roll that forward, and then you do a rookie draft. So it's more like if you're playing Madden, it's franchise mode kind of thing.
It'd be a nice side thing to have going.
Yeah, and so you have that going all off season. So it's something that's a little bit more intense, and like you make long-term moves. And you're kind of playing like a real NFL GM.
Yeah, so, I'm still super curious. I still would like to do that. I don't think it's going to happen this year. We just couldn't lock in enough players. But hey, hope if Blurst takes off, we'll host our own Blur Sports 12-man league.
Hey, anybody else is interested, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Leave a comment, tweet at us, write on our TikTok, whatever. But let us know.
So let's jump into strategies, like not just to get an edge on you guys. We'll give up what we're thinking going into this draft. I can get started and let you guys muddle around with some ideas. Really, since I've struggled so much with running back injuries the last few years, especially early round running backs, I'm trying to find running backs with a track record of playing time consistently over the last few years. I don't want anybody that's coming off of an injury. No,
a lot of
CMC
them
for me. Even though he's going, CMC is the number 1 overall pick in,
but for good reason.
He's a stud when he's there.
CMC twice. He's averaged 29 points per game. Twice. Last year, JT finished first and he only averaged 24 points per game. So that's 5 points more per game.
The thing is, I'm never ever going to draft him. He's going to stub his toe in week 4 and he's going to be out for 12 more weeks. He's the most fragile human being I've ever seen.
You know what's crazy is I don't think Frank would either. So I think we could see Christian McCaffrey drop into like 4th or 5th in our league.
Now that would be
be
interesting.
Now, if he hit me at 9, you got to draft him.
He's not getting you at 9. But like then it's like, oh shit, okay, this is worth the risk.
At that point, 100%.
I'm definitely trying to get like running backs that I think could stay healthy and that are not going to be in any type of competition for everyone wants at least one workhorse running back. I think something that's different because we have keepers between our league and our draft strategy is that everyone's draft strategy, even
though certain drafts may lend itself certain ways based on how players shape out, everyone's keepers make their draft strategy a little different because who you keep.
100%.
Like I kept a quarterback because I don't want to draft a quarterback. I kept Dak Prescott because I don't want to have to go draft one. Like I was going back and forth between who I should keep, who I shouldn't keep. I switched to Dak as one of my keepers because I was like, the way 9 played out and where I was getting, I couldn't find a good value pick in my mocks. And I think what I found important this year was it's less about trying to get certain guys and more about what that guy does. What, like, is he a boomer bust player? Can he get 20 points? Does he get a lot of targets? You're looking for a mold more than you are a certain player because it'll help you be more versatile and open as the draft shakes out. It's something I'm learning. I'm not historically been a good drafter. I'm great with the trades and free agency, but I have not had a great draft ever really. So I'm hoping to change it this year.
Yeah. Good point. Aaron, anything that you're looking at specifically going into the year?
Yeah, so I mean, just for me, my team personally, it's so interesting in our league based off the keepers that we do, but then also still being a half PPR league. That brings wide receivers more value, but at the same time, running backs are such
pass catching running backs are very
such a premium because of that as well. So yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going running back with the second pick. We may not tell you who, but not that it really matters for either of you per se, because neither one of you have the number 1 pick, but
yeah,
on the off chance Frank's listening,
it's Brady.
It's DeAndre Swift. Oh yeah, that's right. No, yeah. I forgot it's Brady. Last year it was Frank.
Yeah,
but yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say something else. I was gonna ask you is it, what are you thinking about? You don't have to tell us who, but like, are you nervous about the second end coming back around in the second round, like because you have to wait so long?
I'm not actually. So what I've been doing in every single mock draft, and it's worked out well, is taking that superstar running back second overall, and then on the flip around, getting a top tier wide receiver back.
Because there's so many top tier receivers.
Yes, because there's so many. I feel much more confident in that. And then, yeah, that does leave it to where my running back core, I might have to make some moves there to get a second workhorse or something like that. But I feel like I said a second ago, that's exactly what happened in the mock I most recently did. It went Derrick Henry at number 2, and then the long wait, and on the flip, I got Deebo Samuel. And if that plays out, I couldn't be more happy.
Right. Yeah. No, I think that's a perfect way to start. And with your keepers, you have 2 stud receivers, a stud tight end, a stud running back right there off the rip.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Every mock I did. Oh, sorry.
I was just saying, being in the league together with all the different guys for so many years now, it's important to understand like how your league operates and how different people might draft.
Yes.
Typically in our league, receivers will fall a few spots from where they're projected in normal drafts just because we typically value running backs a little bit more. That's my opinion. What do you guys think?
No, I think there's a running back premium in our league for sure. I also think you see in our draft a lot too. That happens are runs. Like you'll see a top quarterback go and you'll see a couple more go, and then you'll see same happens. 100%. It's weird. Sometimes it happens with defenses too, which I think is kind of weird, but you will see runs. Like, and I think that's probably the same in every league, but you got to be ready for that. You gotta know, because I'm thinking probably the first quarterback to go off the list this year is going to be Josh Allen. And you might see him there you could see him as early as the second.
I could see that.
And so when Josh Allen goes, you're going to see Herbert go, or you're going to see Mahomes go. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen?
My prediction is Brady's going to take Josh Allen, pick
24
in the 3rd round.
Oh,
yeah, I can see that though.
But who knows though? Does he make it?
No, but the thing is, that's the thing. Like,
he might not.
I could see Josh going in the 3rd.
Because someone like you, Aaron, who has so far ahead keeper wise, you could take a Josh Allen in the 2nd and you're not missing a beat, and you could just get that receiver right there in the second half of the 3rd. Like, you could be the one.
Yeah, because it's like that's kind of how it's been playing out with that, because I've usually landed with a Josh or a Pat Mahomes or somebody. And you guys know me, I don't ever have that quarterback. I have one of my mainstays in the entirety of being a fantasy football player for over a decade now, which, wow, crazy to say that about us, right? But
that's crazy.
Is that I don't really draft a quarterback if the round ain't at double digits. I mean, like, it's if I haven't kept one, I'm drafting a quarterback in the 10th, 11th, 12th round. But I've also noticed that, and I'm in the position to change it this year, of course, that with the way our particular league scores quarterbacks, I'm not saying they're at a premium, but it matters much more.
It does.
Streaming quarterbacks week to week doesn't work as well as it used to, and I like that. I like it. I'm not.
We get hit with a -4 points for an interception. That's tough to come back from.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think you saw this last couple of years, like the Josh Allens, the Russell Wilsons, there have been big quarterbacks on these winning teams. Like for the most part, they've been the high scoring quarterbacks. The quarterbacks that get either first, second, or third, because top quarterback in the league will finish with 400, 500 points, which is a ton of points. Whereas compared to like 15, you're only going to get around like the 300 some mark. So there's a big difference, and there is that quarterback premium. And for people who have set keepers who don't have to worry about who do I get early round depth, they can go for the quarterback early, and it changes a lot of things. I think you can get some value in quarterback this year, like a Jalen Hurts. I think Trevor Lawrence is someone you could take a risk on late as a nice keeper flyer.
Whatever you do, don't bring up Justin Herbert, because I really want him back. I want my boy Herbie.
Yeah, you're gonna have to take him probably in the third.
If you take Herbert second overall,
if he's there.
I don't have the depth in my keepers as well as my boy Aaron does, unfortunately. One other thing I'm trying to do this year, I'm trying to draft second and third best options on good offenses as opposed to the best option on a bad offense. So
that's fair.
Just because you're going to be moving the ball into scoring position more often, have more opportunities. So I think I fall into that trap where you want the player that's going to blow up, that is getting all the opportunity on a bad team, but that doesn't necessarily get them.
But that team may not stay on the field. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so that's a trap that I fall into often. I'm trying to steer clear of that this
year. How do you feel about stacking, like quarterback, wide receiver stacking and stuff like that? Are there any positions you like to stack?
QB with skill position is fine to me. I don't like stacking really any running back, tight end, or receiver that are on the same team, just because each drive you only have one of those players that have a chance to score, unless you get like a weird like running back toss pass or something like that, which that's fucked me over in the past.
Oh yeah,
shout out Alex.
Yeah, I think you also, it happened against me too.
Tyler Lockett has hit me with that a few times.
So maybe it wasn't you, but I was thinking it was you. Have you ever had a Tyreek Hill?
I have. Yeah, it's probably.
I'm pretty sure
fucked me.
There was one year I literally won a game because Hayden was beating me by like 6, and it went into Monday night, and Tyreek Hill had a shit game, and then he threw an interception. And it ended up the way my math might be right there, but what I remember happened was Tyreek Hill's interception brought Hayden below my point total, and I won for the week.
That's awesome.
Yes.
We've seen that several times. Like was it Tim Tebow that one time, or who got the -2 one time?
I can't remember.
Frank, or I can't remember who it was either. But we've seen some rare things like that happen before.
Yeah.
So speaking about trying to not draft standouts on bad offenses, let's talk about some Falcons players in fantasy football this year. Yes. Is there anybody you guys are looking at like that could make an impact? I know Kyle Pitts is the obvious pick just because he's going a little bit earlier in drafts. But
I think there's another obvious pick too, based off what he did last year. Now, I know we already talked about it either last week or the week before, and I said that he's not going to have the year that he had because I'm a believer in regression to the mean, but Cordero Patterson. Yes. I mean, throughout the entirety of the year, he was a top 5 running back. Essentially,
I mean,
with how much he caught balls as well.
I mean, he started off the year so hot. You saw
catching balls.
Oh yeah,
he couldn't continue the success later in the season. I think because he got tired, and also it was like a one-man team out there basically with Kyle Pitts. It makes sense why they were exhausted. But yeah, I agree. I didn't keep him for the reason that I don't know how the running back's going to shake out in Atlanta. And keepers, if you have a better option, you should keep a higher ADP. But Cordell Patterson is someone worth taking a flyer on if you can get him in the 5th, 6th, 7th round. If you're looking for a late running back who can play flex for you, because there will be some weeks that Cordell Patterson will probably put up 20 plus points because he does catch balls outside. He does also, he is a strong runner too. So I think I agree with that. I think another player to look at, and you have on your list right here, is Mariota, not as a starting quarterback all the time, but if you need to stream a quarterback one week and Falcons are playing a bad defense, with his the dual threat quarterbacks put up a ton of points. Like Jalen Hurts, his last couple of years, is one of the top fantasy quarterbacks. Oh, yeah. And he's not great. Like he doesn't put up great stats all the time, but his fantasy numbers are incredible. I don't think he's awful. I don't think he's awful either. But he's a great fantasy quarterback. And Mariota could put up some big numbers in some games. I don't think he'll be consistent by any means, but he could.
I think it's key that you said when they're going up against bad defenses and not bad teams. The
Yes.
best combination you can be possibly facing is when your fantasy player that is a quarterback is going up a team that's far better and is putting up a lot of points and also has a bad defense.
Yep.
That is the key. So if you can stream Mariota a week like that where we're going to be playing from behind pretty early against a bad defense, then yeah, you could see like a top 5 performance.
Yeah, and then you'll have some chances this year too. The Falcons playing some of these teams like that have a strong offense. We play a lot of strong offense this year, so I think you could see it. I also think like rookie wise, you're trying to take a late flyer. I think Drake London might actually go in the 5th round, 6th round. Like I think he might go
crazy,
that early.
But I do get it.
I get it too. He's projected by many to be the number 1 ranked fantasy rookie wide receiver this year. Yeah. So I mean, it's projections for that. But Tyler Algier, another player who I think was worth taking in the draft sometime. If you can get him late and hold on to him, keep it for next year because he could potentially become the starting running back for the Falcons. So I think there's a lot of intriguing players for the Falcons. And maybe a league winner. Who knows? Maybe one of these players, like through injury, becomes a league winner for a team. You just never know when that happens.
I kind of feel like Drake London is that player to me that I just talked about that would be the standout on a bad offense. So that's like a trap that I think even in our mock draft we did earlier this week, I took Drake London pretty early.
I thought it was a fine spot where you took him though. That's about where he's going.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's a trap I'm trying not to fall into, especially in a position that he can't control how much he gets the ball. Really, it's up to the quarterback.
Right. It's not a big. I don't think it's big. Depending on what you're drafting Drake for, it might not be. If you're drafting him for a flex player,
upside,
like a flex flyer upside, I think it's fine. And to hold him on for keeper potential, that's kind of what I did last year with Jamar Chase. I took him, I think, in the 5th round, around the same time. And I mean, I could never guess he'd have the season he did, but very similar thing.
There's 1 to 2 receivers every year that break out like that as a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
So if you find one of those guys, that is a key keeper, and it can really.
And it helps him that the only other like great receiving option is a tight end, because you can have, I mean, you've seen it in Kansas City and other places. You can have an elite tight end and an elite wide receiver on the same team. It actually helps each other. So,
but now I'm thinking back to what we just talked about in the other episode about how I was impressed with how the offense was putting routes together and getting receivers open in space. And I mean, God dang it, now I'm back on the other side of it. So it's a back and forth. We'll have to see what I actually do in the draft.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I think last year too, Calvin really goes out and Russell Gage goes in, and Russell Gage, I think Rick got him and used Russell. He started Russell Gage every week. He wasn't putting up incredible numbers, but he was getting great flex numbers, averaging like 14. Yeah. So I think if Russell Gage can put those numbers up, if Drake London stays healthy, I think he could put up some decent numbers this year. I mean, Arthur Smith knows how to scheme the guys open. It's just, will the quarterback be able to deliver, like you're saying?
Yeah. Aaron, anything you want to add to those Falcons players?
No, not really. Just God.
No.
The defense against like the Panthers might be a good streaming option if you're looking for something. And Younghoe Koo.
That was the next thing I was going to ask about.
Yeah, okay. Younghoe Koo specifically. Yeah.
He's clutch. He doesn't miss. So he's a great option.
What's his deepest field goal, bro? Like
50? No, he hits 50s.
What? But that's
58?
I think 50. I don't think it's that.
Maybe
I think early
range.
50s is yeah.
So he's not going to get you the deep one, but
No.
if he's I mean, that's not necessarily what you want out of a kicker. You want consistency.
I got a deep one right here for you, Hayden.
Oh
Right
boy.
there. Yeah. Just want to let you know.
Hey now.
Yeah. Just kicking things up. We're getting spicy on the fantasy football.
I'm so confused. You got a deep what for me?
I'll send you a pick later. You'll figure it out.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about fantasy football still.
No,
Deep sleeper on the Falcons? Is it like?
Well, yeah. No, that wasn't what I was talking about. But to that end, though, what Blake and I kind of hinted on the regular pod this week, which was Algier for the Falcons.
Yeah.
I think he honestly could be, someone that, depending on how Patterson plays out and how Damian Williams does, he could be the number 2 spot. He could even take over the starting role.
He may be the goal line carry, third down guy. Because here's the thing. I think because of the receiving core and the way it is, I think Cordell Patterson will line up outside a lot. So you'll see a Damian Williams with Cordell Patterson on the field. You'll see a Tyler Algier with Cordell Patterson on the field. So I think you're right. I don't know if he's going to be a league winner, but I think he's one of those who can get you through some bye weeks, get you through some injuries, and he might be a good keeper for next year.
I mean, CP's getting old too. We can't forget that. So they
No,
might
yeah.
not. You're probably right. They don't want him taking those hits on the goal line. They don't have to.
Dude, you're gonna start buying yourself into the Falcons too much, and then you're gonna be
Watch
drafting
out
them.
now.
Watch out now. You don't know. I mean, you got to compete with Levi though. There's a couple other people that draft him early. Like my thing is, I have Kyle Pitts this year, so I don't know if I even want to take a Falcon. Like I think one's as many as you want to go, probably.
Yeah, you don't want to double dip. You just hope that your guy's going to be
The only way you
next
double dip
horse.
is if you get a value pick, like if Drake falls to you in the 6th or 7th, or if Tyler Jeter's there in like the 11th, like you might double dip there. I will say something else to look out for this year is Travis Kelce going in the first round. We do have a tight end premium in our league, and
what does that mean?
so that means you get 1 point per reception instead of the half a point that everyone else gets, which I think we did that because I think it makes tight ends actually worth starting. And actually you can start 2 tight ends if you want to go for it.
In your flex positions, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think Travis Kelce, with Juju Smith-Schuster being the number 1 receiver there in Kansas City, I think Travis Kelce could go back to having a monster year again. I could see him going right there in the end of the first or the turn on the second, because he's going to outscore some of these top receivers, some of these top running backs.
Yeah. By the way, I want to point out, this is kind of a throwback from a second ago, but I looked it up because Hayden got me thinking. But Hayden talking about CP being a little bit old. He played for Lane Kiffin when Lane Kiffin was at Tennessee. That's how old he is.
Wow. Yeah. Yep.
So
that was a while ago. How many head coaches ago was that? Like 5?
Oh, well, wow. He went through like 3 at his time at Tennessee. I think he had Lane Kiffin, Derek Dooley, and then it might have just been those 2 because Derek Dooley was there for 2 or 3 years. But either way, not a good time for Tennessee.
That is crazy.
They go through them up there in Knoxville.
They do. My goodness.
Beautiful town, though. I enjoyed going to a game up there.
Hell yeah.
All right. Anything else you guys want to bring to the forefront here as our listeners may be going in their fantasy draft?
I also want to ask y'all if there's one player you think you should avoid this year. Who is it?
Christian McCaffrey. I mean, dude, I'm just not,
I'm on board with that 100%.
Watch me be as wrong as possible, but I mean, I just think I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole.
I'm one of those people who's like, I'm glad I don't have to make that decision, but I probably would draft him if I'm up there. I mean,
I'll say Austin Eckler as well while we're talking about it. He has been very solid the past few years.
He has.
And he has mostly avoided injury. He's a smaller guy still, and this is about his 4th year of relevance now.
Right.
And he's going like in the top 5.
Oh, he's still going to go top 5 probably.
I just don't see the longevity. He's a talented guy, but I don't know if his body's gonna keep holding up.
How do y'all feel about the Akers Dobbins this year, coming back from those torn ACLs, being kind of in a run, like in kind of committee kind of situation potentially? How do y'all like them? I know Akers going much higher than Dobbins.
I'm not touching them.
Yeah, no, neither.
Yeah, I'm curious. That's the thing is the mock drafts are so hard because, especially when you're just doing against the computer CPU or going best off of ADPs and stuff like that. It's hard to know what people are going to be into or not. So I'm very curious to see who the big risers are and who the followers are. Cause I feel like, the rookie running back that plays for the Kansas City Chiefs I can't think. It starts with P.
I don't Peter.
It is Chiefs running back. Where is it?
Pleats McKinley.
Isaiah Pacheco.
Sorry, that tickled me.
But yeah, he was a 7th round pick who apparently like the coaches are all talking up, and everyone in camp's talking up, saying like comparing him to Kareem Hunt when he was there. So he's someone who's probably not supposed to go until like the 13th round, but you might see him go as high as the 9th round or something like that. People taking reaches on him. So I'm wondering who the big reaches will be and what.
So let me ask y'all this. Sorry to interrupt, but they you asked about Akers and Dobbins, and I'm thinking around that same tier, if not that exact same tier of people. What about Travis Etienne?
People are really high on him. I don't know why.
They are. I mean, if you watch him in the preseason game, he's running hard. He's running fast.
I'm not trying to say there shouldn't be hype about him. I just don't know what the James Robinson hates about, because he's good too. So
right. That's the thing.
It's curious to me. I think Etienne has a better chance because he was the running back for Trevor Lawrence and Clemson. So I don't know. I feel like he'd be a good pick. I just don't know where he goes. Probably 3rd round, maybe.
I could see that.
Wow, that's early.
That's probably
it is early. I wouldn't do that.
I think Dobbins goes the last of the 3 of those guys right there.
What would you guys think about because one player I've been looking at, not necessarily to draft, but also perhaps, is Clyde Edwards-Helaire coming into last year, Blake, I know you had the misfortune of drafting him. You know, I think he was a first round. Did you draft him in the first round or the second round?
2 years ago, I drafted him in the first round.
That's right. And then you kept him?
And I couldn't
keep
him.
Well, no, sorry.
Yeah, no, I actually ended up trading him away. I cut bait with him, but he was, sorry to interrupt, but just coming up, he was obviously Joe Burrow's running back, and coming off that crazy season, he was, locked in at taking over for where Kareem Hunt left off there in Kansas City. It just didn't happen. So I don't know. What are y'all's thoughts on maybe him getting back on track? It's a weird backfield. You have him. You also have the guy out of Tampa Bay. What's his name? Ronald Jones, who's there now too. And then you have the rookie I just mentioned. Apparently, Ronald Jones might be the odd man out. So
really,
I think it's CEH's backfield to have.
Yeah,
but I think the leash is short.
Right. It was me. I had him. Forgot about that.
Yeah. So if you're, you've had him. I think you guys had him. If you draft him, you got to draft as one of the backups, I feel like, too.
Any backfield, you have to ask a question like that. I am not fucking interested in.
I
don't want it. I'm not going to touch it. That's the same reason I didn't keep Rashad Penny. I could have kept Rashad Penny, and I didn't, because there's all this news going on about their second round running back they drafted. I don't want any part of it. I don't.
Because here's the thing, we won't know until the season starts.
Oh yeah, we don't touch it.
Well, see, the Patriots, I'm actually higher on Ramondre Stevenson. I didn't keep him, I could have, but I think Stevenson's someone who I would like. He'd probably go in the 5th, and I think he's probably worth that because
Belichick's and it's so smart from an actual football perspective. I'm not bashing him there, but when it comes to fantasy, you just can't predict it. Just look at what he did with Sony Michel and stuff like that. It's like, good Lord, it's like. Sonny would put up 30 points in fantasy one week and then barely fucking play the next week.
So Laird Blunt did that same thing.
Yeah. So it's just how Belichick likes to rotate his offense. Yeah. Good Lord. Wasn't that the year that LeGarrette played the majority of the year for the Eagles and then they cut him and he signed with the
I don't know.
The Patriots
He's been back and forth with those two teams a few times. But yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Another team I'm trying to avoid 49ers running back until I can just pick a random one up off a free agent.
Yeah, you want to just waiver wire them or get a late draft pick on them.
You don't know who it's going to be.
It might be Trey Sermon this year. He could be their lead back. Yeah. You just don't know.
And especially since because of Debo, they have a similar effect with Cordell Patterson. Debo's like if Cordell Patterson were a good football player. And so it's like, sorry, Blake.
I think that's a weird shot at Cordell. He's much older.
It was more of a shot at you, but anyway. But no, I kid, obviously, but he is certainly much better. But they do the same type of thing in a better offense with a better coach.
Yeah,
and so, both wide receivers that aren't named Debo Samuel and running backs on that offense are just God.
Yeah,
it's tough to predict.
I would say the hard part too is there's a lot of running backs committees around the league. You got Miami, you have Baltimore was going to start out with one. You have the one you just mentioned. I just think there's a lot of offenses. Patriots have one. I could keep naming a lot of that have them, but there's a lot of offenses that have these committees where any of these running backs actually make it out, or is it going to be a committee all year and you just got to play the hot hand? Like, is it going to be playing the hot hand?
Exactly.
So, I think something too we haven't mentioned yet, and this is probably the last thing we have to talk about, is we are trying a cap on running backs this year. I don't know how I agree with that. I'm more about the free market, like let the league decide how many people keep it running backs and all that stuff, and I don't know, because here's the thing: if you keep a lot of running backs, you're going to be short somewhere else.
Freaking Ayn Rand over here.
Yeah. But
late stage capitalism.
No, I'm Adam Smith, dude. Right. I'm all about the invisible hand.
You guys remember Sobey.
But yeah, I don't know. I think because of this 5 running back cap, I think the draft's going to look a little different. I think there's going to be some running backs that aren't, I want to say startable, but there's going to be some intriguing running backs on the waiver wire.
Honestly, I think it's going to help me because another trap that I fall into is I take a lot of late round running back flyers and I sit on them and just wait and see, and usually nothing happens, and then I'm just clogging up my bench.
Yeah.
So it's going to benefit me by not even giving me that option.
There we go.
Fair enough. All right, so
let's wrap it up. Thank you guys for listening. Hopefully this helps. I don't know. Maybe
next week.
I don't know.
Next week we'll actually be recording during our draft, so hopefully we do a successful job at recording and drafting at the same time. We're also going to try to live stream it maybe on Twitch. We'll see.
If it's horrible, we just will not post it.
Yeah.
We'll try to give our 2 cents on what's going on and like if we think someone's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's what we'll be doing. Oh,
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Good luck on your fantasy football drafts in the next few weeks. It's almost here. I can smell it. So yeah. Special shout out to our friend Oh No for the music. Jess and Kinsey, thanks for your help as always. And thank you, listeners, for listening.
see you, Blurst Nation.
Keep doing
Love
it.
you guys.
Peace.